Let's choose to stand as beacons of light, to be steady, hopeful, open, and honest, and use our voice as a light as we vote. Every vote counts, and every vote is a step forward, whether we like the outcome or not. Okay, friends, I'm diving into a topic I wouldn't normally talk about. It's about this election, but most importantly, it's about using our voice to step forward. So grab that cup of coffee if you're brave, and let's dive in and talk about this, because I'm stressed and struggling with this, and I want to encourage you as much as I'm encouraging myself. Okay, let's go. Welcome to Step Forward with Terry Mullen. If you're new here, welcome. If you have been following along for a while, welcome back, and thank you so much for being here. I'm a mom to 4 adults, wife of 34 years, a midlife entrepreneur, and your confidence coach who transformed my own doubt into confidence to speak, write my book, start a podcast, and launch my own business. Now I empower other amazing women just like you to do the same. So lean in and learn how to crush that fear, amplify your voice, and build confidence to create your own impact and income. I'm here to encourage you and empower you every step of the way. Let's step forward. Thank you so much for being here today. I want to dive in and talk about something that's been so much on my mind, this election. And the reason I'm talking about it, I wouldn't normally even do this. I don't talk politics on here at all, but I think it's so important to talk about it from the perspective of the privilege of using our voice. And our vote is one way we use our voice. And I'm not going to lie, I have been so stressed about this election. It has caused me so much anxiety, and maybe you're feeling that way too. With all the debates and the ads and the intensity, it's kind of hard to ignore all that tension, right? We feel it. It comes across in every way, and we're bombarded. And now we get texts. It's just every part of our life right now. And it just feels like the stakes are so high, and there's just so much division in families and friendships and whatever. Everybody has an opinion, a very strong opinion, a lot of emotion. And I keep coming back to the very core principle that voting at its core is a privilege and a gift. And it is a way that we use our voice. And we're really blessed and lucky to have it. And the reason I'm talking about this is because I literally got to a point where I thought, I don't even want to vote. I cannot stand this. And then I thought, no, that's my responsibility to be able to do this, to be able to step forward and use my voice, however messy or uncertain I feel it might be. But my vote does matter. It matters to God. It matters to my community. It matters to my family. It matters to our nation. Even though we don't see it, even though we feel like we might even be voting in silence, it does matter because it represents who we are. And you don't have to agree with me. I don't care what vote you have cast. I care that you have. And this election has been exhausting with all the mudslinging, the finger pointing, and the noise of it all. It just feels loud, all the tension. And I'm not watching the news very much. I don't know about you, but it causes me way too much stress. It's enough to make all of us want to just completely tune out, right? And some days it's been tempting to wonder if any of this really matters. But I want to encourage you and remind you, as much as I'm reminding myself, that it does matter. And at this moment, it's an invitation for you to show up and be a light to others, even when it feels so hard. But today I want to talk about the gift of our voice. Our voice is a gift. Each one of us has a unique perspective, a unique set of experiences that shape who we are and how we see the world, and how we vote. When we speak up, whether it's to vote or to share our story or to show up here like I do on this podcast and share who I am and what I've been through, or to stand up for someone else, we're making a difference in this world. We're giving a part of ourselves, and that's really powerful. Speaking up isn't always easy, right? I find that even here speaking on this podcast. And maybe you have had moments in your life where you haven't wanted to speak up. It's been my journey. It's been my story. And if you've read my book, Step Forward, that's what it's been about. It's been finding my voice. And it's taken me 60 years to find my voice, to be able to step forward and be really authentic and share who I am. Because many of us have a fear of what others will think. We're afraid we're going to be rejected and not accepted for who we are. And that fear keeps us from speaking up and making a difference. We get shut down, right? I work with so many women and help them find the confidence to step forward and share their voice, to speak their truth. Because when we speak, it's scary. We're putting ourselves out there, aren't we? But when we speak, we're not just representing ourselves. We're part of a larger conversation. And when we speak from authenticity, we can change lives. That's why podcasts are so popular, because people are sharing their truth. They're sharing who they are. They're sharing their journey. They're sharing their experience. And it's powerful. So, back to where we are. Here we are in this election season. And voting, in many ways, is just an extension of using our voice. It's one of the most powerful and impactful ways that we can stand up for what we believe. But I want to continue to encourage all of us to do it in love. Think about all who have gone before us to fight so hard to give us this right and this privilege, especially the women that have come before us who stood up and said, we deserve to be heard. It's why I say you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong. I say that on every podcast, and I mean it. Think back, it wasn't until 1920 that women even had the right to vote in the United States. It was a struggle. It was a battle, one that many fought so hard for to give us this privilege. Those who believe so deeply in the power of the gift of our voice. And voting isn't just a right, it's actually a privilege. And I think we sometimes forget that. We get lost in the noise and the negativity and the division. And sometimes we just want to go silent rather than continuing to step forward. But voting is a way to honor those who came before us and for those who come after us. It matters in our families. It matters in our communities. It matters in our businesses. And it matters in our country at large. It's one way we can step forward. And I want to encourage you that even though you might feel like your vote doesn't matter, your voice won't be heard, it does. God knows. You know. And in this season, when there's more division than ever before, in my opinion, and there's so much stress in the air, it definitely can feel overwhelming. But I want to encourage you to keep moving forward. Think back to people like John McCain, who could really bridge the aisles and bring that sense of civility to politics, right? And we need more people like that, and hopefully more people will come forward. And so, let's continue to step forward and be a voice of hope. How are you going to show up? How are you going to show up in your community? How are you going to be a light in your family? To listen more than speak. Understand that we have to be respectful, even when others aren't. We have to learn to actually have conversations rather than arguing. And remember that each person has a story. Each person comes with their own fears and concerns about why they're casting the vote the way they are. But that's the privilege of our democracy. So, I'm choosing to focus on what matters most, using our voice and being intentional. Instead of getting pulled into heated debates or losing ourselves in all the frustration, let's focus on who we are and what we represent, what we stand up for, what a gift it is to be able to use our voice. What do you believe? What matters most to you? Is it unity or division? For me, that's what matters. Cast your vote. I celebrate you, whatever that is. Use your voice and step forward. The goal isn't to change everyone's mind. The goal is to stand up for what you believe. And lastly, I want to encourage you to empower others to use their voice. There are people in your community who might feel discouraged, who might feel uncertain. They might feel like their vote doesn't matter or their voice doesn't matter. Maybe they're afraid. Maybe they don't know where to start. And maybe you can be a source of encouragement to them, to answer questions that they might have, just to show up in love. You can make a difference. We can be the ripple effect. When we're brave enough to step forward and be loving and support others, we inspire others to do the same. We don't have to argue. We don't have to debate. we can show up in love. Because it's small acts of courage and kindness that add up over time. Today, I just want to empower you and remind you the gift we've been given, the gift of our voice and the gift of voting. It's about being a part of something that's larger than ourselves. And yes, there's so much noise, so much discouragement, but we don't have to engage in it. We can be steady and hopeful and loving and be a voice in the midst of it all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring enough to show up here. Thank you in advance for voting. Your voice, your vote, and your light matter. I'll leave you with this. Step forward. Step forward with courage and kindness and love, and with the belief that you can make a difference. Until we meet again, know that you are seen, you are heard, you are loved, you are valued, and you belong. Have an amazing day. God bless. Well, thank you so much for being here, for listening in today. I hope you have a few key takeaways that you can apply to your own life. I believe with everything in me, the way we make a difference is by finding the courage to step forward and use our voice, to start a podcast, to write our book, and to coach others. And if you're in that place where you have this idea and you want to help someone else, but you just don't know where to start, I'd love to help you. I put the link here in the show notes where you can connect with me one-on-one and we can just have a conversation. Have an amazing day and keep stepping forward.